The objective of marriage is to have someone in your life that when you can talk to no one else, that's the person you can talk to. That's the objective. That's actually the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. Now that's very easy to say. It's extremely easy to say. I met a young man recently, very young, but he's, mashallah, he's doing well in school, has a full-time job, he can take care of himself, as young men should. And he's, not even 20 yet, he got married. Right? I'm proud of him, because you know what? If you're going to man up early, then good for you. Right? And so he's, like some girl, proposed to the family, alhamdulillah, they got married. Okay, khalas. Meet him a few months later. Goes, Ustad. I was like, how's married life? He goes, different. And that breath in the beginning told me everything. I was like, I know, beta, it's okay. He had this picture in his head of how things are going to be. It's not how things are going to be. And a lot of times young people are looking at other married couples that are always fighting or arguing or stressed out, and they're like, all these stupid people don't even know how to be in a relationship. When I get married, it's going to be so different. Oh my God, these people, I'm going to teach these people what couples are all about. They don't even know. I got my education from Instagram. They're not ready. The world's not ready for this filter. So the problem is you cannot build that kind of trust and that kind of relationship and that kind of vulnerability that you can talk to someone about the biggest problem you have, and there's not a 1%, not 0.001% chance in your mind that the person you're talking to, your wife or your husband, is going to say, are you surprised? Look at your behavior. Didn't I tell you shouldn't do this? Like they're going to throw it back in your face. Because if you need somebody to throw it back in your face, then you have to decide, do you want to be insulted by the closest person next to you? Or would you rather stay quiet? And most people that have an ounce of intelligence, what will they choose in that scenario? They'll choose to be quiet. And every time you choose to be quiet, you become 1 inch further from your spouse. And then the next time you're quiet, another inch further, and within a year, you're miles apart from your spouse. You're sitting right next to them, and you're having conversations with yourself in silence. And then they're asking you what's on your mind, and you say nothing. I was just thinking, what should I watch on Netflix? I was just thinking I should take a nap. That's not what you're thinking. You're lying through your teeth because this is not the person you can talk to. This is just not the person. Because you've already tried talking to them before, and when you talk to them, the conversation is what teaches you. That conversation teaches you this is not the person to talk to. You got educated by experience. And that's what marriage has become for most people. It's actually pretty tragic. It's just an emotional hostage situation. That's what it's become. Rasulullah ﷺ in this remarkable narration has no one to talk to. And he can speak to her. What that teaches you is these women understood something. And the Prophet ﷺ taught them something, and they learned something. And the marriage is a partnership also. They understood that this is actually what marriage is about. You see, I have a relationship with my parents, and all of you do. Those of you who are blessed to have your parents that are alive. Nobody has an easy relationship with their parents, let me just be honest. Okay? Nobody got an easy one. You could tell her, I love my mom. Yeah, you've had arguments with your mom, shut up. You've had drama with your dad, you've had arguments with your mom. Everybody has some drama with their parents. But you know what? As bad as it gets with our parents, we didn't choose them and they didn't choose us. Allah made that choice. Allah made that choice. And so, whatever drama is happening, whatever complications there are with your parents, you've got to figure out a way to live up to وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. You got to do it. That's what Allah chose for you. Somebody got to be born of Fir'aun. Somebody got to be born of Abu Lahab. So tough. وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. You got to make the most of it. Figure out how to make that work, but you got to make it work. Why? Because these are relationships that were not created by human beings. The bond between those two souls was created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But the bond between a husband and a wife was not something that wasn't your choice. That was, you chose a spouse. You chose a person. You brought them close into your life, right? And when you make that choice, then every time there is a problem, you're like, I made the wrong choice. Why did I make this choice? I should have made a better choice. Do I still have a choice? So many choices. And your mind will not stop running. Why does the mind go in that direction? Because the foundation of a relationship is false. The foundation of a relationship is not anything on the outside. The foundation of a relationship is, do you find peace and tranquility in that person? And if you don't know that yet, then you have to figure out how to build that inside of a person. Because beauty will wither away, friendship will wither away, responsibilities will come and you can't goof around anymore. Some people say, I used to really like you before I married you. They say that. I don't know what happened after we got married. Well, when you didn't marry someone, they didn't owe you anything. They didn't owe you anything. So you only spoke to them to find relief, to talk to them that made you feel happy. But you didn't have to worry about the bills or the dishes or something your mother said or something this one said or that one. You had none of that. In fact, when somebody, if you're talking to your fiancé in a halal way, and their mom came in and like, okay, I'll call you later, I gotta go. Okay, no problem. But once you get married, what did your mom say? Was she talking about me? She looked at me like that. Why did she look at me like that? Why didn't they call me first? Why are they always coming over? Why is this happen? All of a sudden, you create this, before you, and a lot of you, I'm going to call you guys out. You're talking to the girl you want to marry. You call it halal, but whatever. You're talking to her for hours and you feel so, this is the one for me. Okay? You know why this is the one for you? Because it's just you and her and nobody else. That relationship is nobody else. The moment you get married, you know what our mistake is? Big time. You know what we do when we get our young people married? Who gets in the way? Everyone else. Now the relationship isn't even about him and her. You know what the relationship is about? His mother, his father, her father, brother, sister, cousin, this, that, the other. Why did you give them an Eid gift? You didn't give my cousin an Eid gift. You went to their house. You didn't go to this house. You did this. Everyone else except them. And they're like, man, it was much nicer when we weren't married. And you know why? Because when you weren't married in the Western sense, then it was all about you two. And when you got married, you made it about everybody else. That's actually what happens. And what does this deen teach us? Marriage is fundamentally about who? The husband and the wife. We've created this cultural monster. We've taken sakina, we've designed marriage in a way now in Muslim communities, across the world, we've designed marriage in a way that is meant to be miserable. It's designed to be miserable. Because we want everybody's intervention. And we've even programmed young people that are getting married, they're going in with the mindset that they're about to go into a competition. They're going to look at everything and say, what did you do for your parents and did you do that for my parents? What did you do for your brother or your sister? Did you do that for my brother or my sister? Why did you give them this? Why didn't you give them that? Why did you say this? Why didn't you say that? Why did you call this one? Why didn't you call this one? Did you say Eid Mubarak to them? Did you not say Eid Mubarak to them? Oh my God. And you just create a set of expectations because you're keeping score, one side or the other. This is not a place you will find peace. This is only a place you will find scorecards. That's all you'll find. And you know how those two tribes that are at war with each other, they remember you killed that one and you killed that one. Now these two people that are married to each other are like Banu Bakr and Khuza'a keeping score. You remember last Eid you said this to this, and you didn't even blah, blah, blah. And many of the kids here growing up, this is all the nonsense they hear their family argue about all day. That's what they hear. Rasulullah ﷺ, in this simple hadith, the Prophet ﷺ goes inside and he's speaking to Salama. And he says, this is what they did. This is not when he's in a position of vulnerability, he's in a position of weakness. He's in a position of, nervousness, anxiety, depression even. This is not the time to prove yourself right. This is not the time to say, I told you so. This is not the time to act, well, now that he put his guard down, is a good time to throw in a hook. This is not the time. She says, Ya Nabi Allah, Prophet of Allah, So she doesn't call him by his name. And she didn't even have to say yeah anything. She could have just spoken. But she calls him Prophet of Allah, as if to say, don't forget you're Allah's Prophet. Whether they listen to you or not, they believe you're Allah's Prophet, and I believe you're Allah's Prophet. So don't be shaken about your confidence in them. أَتُحِبُّ ذَلِكَ? Would you want them to listen to you? Would you like that? So she said, أُخْرُجْ, go out. ثُمَّ لَا تُكَلِّمْ أَحَدًا مِّنْهُمْ كَلِمَةً. She said, don't speak to any one of them. Do not speak. Sometimes silence speaks more than words. You've spoken to them 3 times. Any more, and being a student of psychology, I look at this from a psychological perspective. When you give instruction, especially some of you have to deal with teenagers. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Yeah? When you tell your teenager, Kareem, come here. Kareem, Kareem, Kareem. And he just walks out the door. And you kept Kareeming and he didn't Kareem. He wasn't Kareem with you. So he walks out the door, right? And when he comes home, Kareem, you didn't, well, the first 12 times you said it when he walked out the door, that didn't work. Why do you think it's going to work now? But you know what, in that moment, what might work? Silence. He walks in, no acknowledgement. He says, Assalamu alaikum. Look away, alaikum salam. Low tone. Sometimes the lower volume is the scarier volume. Right? Usually you say, are you hungry? Did you eat? Where were you? No questions. And he's standing next to you in the kitchen, and he's like, is there food? And you ignore the question. You just ignore the question. And you start talking to Zainab instead. Zainab, come here. And all of a sudden Kareem's like, hey, I want to say something. You don't have to say anything. I'm really sorry. I got really mad. I'm not going to do that again. At this point, I don't think you should still speak. Don't start Kareeming yet. Just give him a look. That's it. Just a look. Try it. They'll start melting on the inside. Their organs are going to start infusing into each other. It's phenomenal. I do it all the time. You can do this with employees too, or students, if you're a teacher. The tactic works.